Today on the Name a Better Duo podcast, we have Paige Mariah. Paige Mariah Delaney is a digital content creator from Chicago, Illinois. After leaving her fears behind and moving abroad to London to pursue her master's degree at the University of Greenwich in 2019, she began documenting her experiences abroad through weekly YouTube vlogs. She now uses her online platform to share everything from her London adventures and European travel to her personal style through fun outfits of the day. Her goal is to encourage anyone that may stumble upon her content to create the life of your dreams. Welcome, Paige Mariah.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
I am super excited to have you. As I was sharing with you before we got started, I've been following your journey on YouTube since you moved to London. It's so inspiring. And I know so many other people probably who have moved to London or are considering moving just abroad, period, have gone to you just for like advice and like, what do I do? And you've just really been transparent and vulnerable and sharing that process. And so I'm excited to dive in. But yes, before we do that, I like to start off with an icebreaker because everyone here may not know you. And it's a good way for people to get to know. The first question I ask everyone, because I feel like this tells a lot about a person. You can hear any song again for the first time. You know that song, like when you heard it, you're like, this is my jam. What would that song be?
Oh man. Can I give two answers?
Absolutely.
So I would say my favorite song like ever. And it's so hard for me to like choose a favorite anything because I'm such an indecisive person. But my favorite song ever is Sure Thing by Miguel. I love Miguel. So that's my number one. And then I would also have to say like the entire Control album by SZA.
Oh, yes.
Love it. Classic. Yes. So yeah, those are my two.
I love it. So what I do after this is I put together a playlist, a Spotify playlist,
Cool.
everyone's answers. So I'm gonna have to pick a few good ones from that album.
Yes.
The album I love that album.
Yes.
Yes. It actually reminds me of a vacation I was on. We played it the whole time we were there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So like I mentioned, you are one of my favorite YouTubers. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers?
Oh man. That's such a difficult, like I said, it's so hard for me to choose favorite anything. But I will say there was a YouTuber, British YouTuber named Samantha Maria that I used to watch like religiously, like high school, college. And I actually saw her at a restaurant last week. And I was like fangirling on the inside. Like I've seen a lot of my favorite like British YouTubers since I've moved here. And it's just been so like weird. I never say anything, but I wish I had her because she used to be like, oh my gosh, someone I really, really was obsessed with. So yeah, we'll say her.
Do you tell your family, your friends, and then they're like, why didn't you say something?
Yeah, so I was at lunch with someone. I'm like, there's Samantha Maria. Oh my gosh. And they were like, are you gonna say hello? I'm like, I don't want to bother her. I don't know. But yeah, I should have said something. I didn't want to disturb,
I'm the same way. I've seen a few celebrities and I work in production, so I see a lot of people and I'm like, no, I don't want to bother them. They're on a little break. I don't want to, and I'll tell my mom and she's like, are you crazy? You need to start reaching out to people and speaking to them. I'm like, no, it's so awkward.
It depends. It really depends on the situation. Like if they seem like they're open to it or other people are asking, I might walk up, but I don't know. Yeah.
I'm with you. So what shows are you watching right now?
Oh, I am watching a lot of shows, but I will say I'm watching Abbott Elementary. Love it. And Real Housewives of Potomac just came back.
Okay, I'm from Maryland, so yes, I love it. Okay. So we got to get to know you a little bit, get to hear some of your favorites and some of the things that you love. I want to hear more about your background and your upbringing.
So I am from the south suburbs of Chicago, little town called South Holland, Illinois. I always tell people here though that I'm from Chicago because they would have no idea where that is. But yeah, the south suburbs. I went to a local Catholic school out there, ended up, graduating and going to Hampton University for college. The best experience, the best HBCU experience ever. Since then I have just been working in marketing and social media, and now I'm in London living my dream. So that's a little bit about me.
I love that. I don't have a lot of regrets, but one of the things that I wish I would have done is gone to a HBCU.
Really?
Like I went to a pretty, large school here in Maryland, Towson University.
Mhm.
And, it's a PWI. And I feel like we don't have that same pride as those who went to HBCU.
Yeah. I mean, and some people try to talk me out of it too, but it's honestly like one of the best decisions that I could have made. So yeah, I can understand.
I love it. I love it. So, what was going through your mind when you created your first YouTube video?
Oh my goodness. So this question's always funny because my first YouTube video, I probably made it when I was like 13. Like I have been on YouTube forever. Like my friends and I used to just make funny videos, like dancing and singing and
Yeah.
things like that. And then in college, I was making more like style focused videos, still not really taking it that seriously. But I would say it was 2015, the year after I graduated from Hampton, that I was like, okay, I really want to take YouTube seriously. So I started a brand new channel and I uploaded my first video. I think it was just like a shopping haul or something like that. And I was like, we're just going to see how this goes. And yeah, that's the channel that I use to this day. And it's grown so much from 2015. I can say that. Yeah.
That's amazing because I'm one of them, and I know so many people have started YouTube and dropped off. And like, first of all, I feel like it's the consistency that allows you to like see some traction and see some success. Would you say, were you consistent since
Sure.
2000?
So when I first started, I was uploading regularly, but I wouldn't even say it was like once a week yet. I was just trying to like put videos up there and see what happens because it's sometimes hard to stay motivated when you're not seeing results right away. And that's why people usually like give up pretty quickly. But I knew that I wanted to keep going. And I actually didn't see like big traction on my channel until 2017. So almost 2 years later. Yep. So I just kept going with it. And I started talking about my weight loss journey and health journey on my channel, and it kind of just like took off and made my channel blow up. So yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I feel like one of the reasons why I do this podcast is to kind of present different, unique careers to people and just kind of show how people can do it. A lot of people don't see it, so that they don't think it's possible. And I think that that's it. First of all, the consistency, but then also doing something that you love, because I think that's what's going to help you remain consistent.
It's so true. It's so true. And I never really saw it as being a career, if that makes sense. I mean, it's still a very new career. So I would be at work, trying to like secretly like edit my videos and things like that. I remember my boss came up to me one day and said, Paige, I know you work very hard, but like sometimes I walk past your desk and I see YouTube pulled up, and I just don't want anybody else in the office to think that you're not working as hard as I know you are. And I'm like, okay. So it's just so funny now that like this is what I do full time. And I was like getting in trouble for being on YouTube at work. But yeah, it's all full circle.
I love it. I mean, not that I'm condoning doing it. However, a lot of us struggle with, having to work the 9 to 5 while trying to pursue a side hustle or a passion. And you have to get it in where you can fit it in.
It's like having 2 full-time jobs, it really is. So yeah, I have to try.
So at what point did you realize, I know you said you started documenting your health journey on YouTube. What point did you realize this could actually be a source of income for me?
When I received my first check in the mail.
Yes.
So I have a video on my channel that I have a love-hate relationship with, and it is about drinking apple cider vinegar. And it's so funny because it was probably, to this day, it's probably the video that I put the least effort into on my channel. I just came home from the gym. I'm like, I'm just gonna make this video really quick, picked up the camera, still looked a mess from the gym. Like I said, didn't put too much thought into it. And that video is my most viewed video on my channel. I'm not sure what it is now, but I know it was at 13 million views the last time I looked. And that video was viral for over 3 years and was basically paying my rent here in London for the first few years I was here. Yeah, that video alone was just like going. And, with YouTube, like it can slow down and then it can come back. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's great advice, because I feel like a lot of the time we want to wait till everything's perfect. We want to wait till we have everything together. We want to put together this elaborate schedule, okay, I'll post this. And then sometimes you just got to put content out there,
Oh my gosh. Yes. Like sometimes we just overthink it way too much. And it really just takes uploading, and see what happens. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love it. So, what first sparked your interest to move to London?
Oh man. Well, the honest answer is I was very, very unhappy in Chicago. I kind of felt like I had outgrown my position at work. I had been there over 4 years and it was a non-for-profit. So I was really, happy with the work that I was doing, but the pay wasn't very great. There was no room to like move up or get promotions. And I was watching the people around me, elevate, and I felt stuck, like very, very stuck. So also at the time, my boyfriend at the time was moving to enroll in the Peace Corps in West Africa. So I kind of was just in this space, like, what do I have left here in Chicago? Like, what is keeping me here? Like it's time to move. It's time to take a leap. So I had always like joked about moving to London. I remember, the first time I visited with my family, I'm like, I'm moving here one day, and everybody's like, okay, haha. And I wasn't very serious when I was saying it either, because I'm like, how could I do that?
Right.
But with all of that going on, I, once again, at work, sorry, y'all, don't do this on company time. I'm Googling how to move abroad to London. And I realized that it was, the easiest option to come and study here as an American. So I knew that I wanted to get my master's degree at some point. So I was like, why not do it abroad and, in the UK? And I realized that I would not be the first American to do it or the last. So I mean, like, why not?
Yeah.
And I just, made it happen and
Yeah.
applied.
I love that. I feel like so many of us stay in that unhappy place, especially
Yes.
when we're just getting a, comfortable paycheck. We're just,
Mhm.
going through the motions. But like, if you recognize that you're unhappy, do something about it, and
Absolutely.
do something about it. And taking a leap of faith often is what it requires.
Yeah.
To getting out of your comfort zone is what it
Mhm.
often requires for you to find that peace and find that happiness and find that joy, but it's worth it. The outcome is so worth it.
Yes, I refer to that time in my life as being comfortably unhappy because my job was stable. I knew I was going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks. I knew what was expected of me at work, but I was crying in the bathroom every day. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, is it worth being comfortable? Sometimes being uncomfortable for a little bit can, change your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So how was that transition for you, moving abroad, studying abroad,
Yes.
and even just living as an American in London, how has that been for you?
Sure. So I would say the first 3 months, I was definitely in like a honeymoon phase. I wasn't homesick. I was just having the time of my life, meeting new people, having fun. And then it kind of all just like crashed a bit, to be honest. And the reality of it started to hit me. And, I say if you want to go on a path of like self-discovery and, self-realization, move abroad because you spend so much time with yourself. And I just learned so much about myself, and I learned to fall in love with my solitude because I was once a person who was afraid to be alone. So it was uncomfortable at times, and I called my mom crying a lot but I pushed through, and I don't regret it for a second. Like it's the best decision that I've ever made.
Mhm.
But it was tough at the beginning.
Yeah,
And sometimes it is still tough now, almost 4 years later.
yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's important. It's not for everyone, but I think it's important for people to explore outside of what's familiar. I haven't had the liberty of living abroad, but I'm from Maryland. I lived in Los Angeles for 6 years. I lived in Atlanta for about 3 or 4 years. And for me, like you said, the independence that you gain and just proving to yourself that you can do it and that you have the tools and the resources to be, a individual by yourself without the comfort of your family and your friends and everything that it just feels good, makes you feel like an adult, makes
Yes.
you feel like
Yes. Yes. I'm like, oh, this is the real world. This is the real world.
the real world.
Yeah.
That's next on my list. Like honestly, I really want to move abroad, at least for a summer or something like
Yeah, yeah, just experience it. Like you don't realize how much world there is out there until you leave your hometown. Whether you're, venturing out just to another state in the US or moving completely, out of the country, you just don't realize what's out there until you just experience it for yourself.
What would you say to someone who wants to but is afraid? They hear that like, oh no, she was crying to her mom, and like, I don't know if I'm ready for that because I can be,
I know.
scared.
Don't let that steer you the opposite way. I like I said, it's the best decision that I've ever made in my life, and I would do it 10 times over. Like it was challenging, but I needed it for my growth, and I'm not sure that I would be who I am today if I did not make this decision. I was so comfortable, so stuck, so complacent. And I can tell you right now that I would probably still be at that same job in that same position, making the same amount of money, this many years later if I hadn't have made a move. So yeah, if you want to take the leap, like what better time than now?
Yeah. What better time than now? Like, don't put it off for tomorrow because you won't do it.
Oh,
That's what you'll keep putting it off. And that's with everything, not
so
just with
true.
moving.
Yeah, I actually so I ended up studying in January. My program began in January, and a lot of people are like September starters, but
Yeah.
I knew that if I had waited to the following September, I was going to back out. I know myself. I almost talked myself out of it, and I only had a few months
Yeah.
before I was going to leave. So I just knew that I could not put it off, for very long at all. So yeah, I definitely agree with that because you just might not end up doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel you've been received as an American there in London?
Um, It's been great for me. Personally, I feel like people have been so kind and so welcoming. I always say this is my personal opinion, but like I would say that British people tend to be a bit more reserved than Americans.
Yeah.
But as soon as my accent is heard by someone, I promise you, they're immediately interested and they're wanting to talk to me. So yeah, I've definitely been received very well, and I've made a lot of great friends, a lot of great lifelong friends here. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Because it's cool. It's true. Like, if you hear someone with a British accent here, we're like,
Of
oh,
course.
like, we're
Otherwise, you might not really pay any attention to
right.
them. Like, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's been nice.
So back to social media and YouTube. How do you think social media has shifted the way businesses operate?
Oh man, social media has been amazing for businesses. I feel like your audience is now the entire world compared to, many years ago where your audience was probably just the people that live in your community. And now you can sell products to anyone. So it's been amazing. And even, just for me as a content creator, being able to connect with so many people all over the world, who would not know who I was or what I was doing if it wasn't for YouTube. So yeah, social media, I'm pro social media, obviously. 100%.
Like, you look at the amount of people who have been able to establish their brand just because of
Right.
this one little resource, and I think
One
that,
viral video and
yeah,
their business takes off. Like,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, yeah, and it pays, there's some pros and cons to
Sure,
social media,
sure.
especially those who use it for more of just like personal, like it can be the comments and all the things that come with it. However, like, it's such a great free resource. Of course, you can pay for marketing and things like that, but why not utilize it? Why not? And there's so many businesses now that are paying influencers top dollar to market their company and their business that way. So I feel like it's something to definitely look into, take advantage of if you can,
Definitely,
if it's
definitely
something
agree.
you're interested in. So you're the founder of Bloom Village, which is a wellness space for graduates and professionals. Tell us more about that.
Oh man, so Bloom Village was just like my passion project. I call it my baby. I wanted to create a community, create a space for people like me, people who are in the same position that I once was 4 years ago. So once I moved abroad, like I said, my channel, started to grow through the fitness content, through the wellness content. And I took another leap and completely shifted my content into vlogs about me living abroad. And I wasn't sure how it was going to go, if people were going to even be interested in my life here. And it ended up going, further than I ever could have imagined. So as I started building my audience through that type of content, I was receiving a lot of, feedback and comments and messages from people who were like, Paige, I'm going through this same thing. I feel so stuck. I don't know what to do next. I want to take a leap as well. And that kind of inspired Bloom Village. I knew that there were people out there who really just needed like motivation and the confidence to take leaps. So I wanted to just create a safe space where people could come together and kind of, meet and network and, just all of those things so that we can know that we're not alone in this journey.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. Because like you said, I feel like whatever you're trying to pursue, having community is so important, especially when you're leaving everything that you know. Like for me, in the moves that I've had, building community has been pivotal in me just staying there, and me finding my peace in where I was. You brought up to like transitioning from the fitness into London and transitioning out of that. How important do you think it is to have a niche when it comes to YouTube?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it is pretty important, as much as I have like tried to fight it, because I'm a person who has so many different interests and I want to talk about everything. I have seen, from my own content and just watching others, when get really, really specific, your channel, or your content has the ability to, go very far, just because people kind of know exactly what to expect every time they visit your page or they visit your channel. You don't have to, niche down all the way, but it does help. It does help with growth. So like, for my channel, I definitely focus on my life abroad, but I'm also still interested in fitness and health and style. So I'm going to incorporate, bits of that in, because that's me, and what I'm interested in. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so important to at least to build your page, to start it that way, and then you can explore, as with like businesses, you want to start with one particular niche and then you can build on and have umbrellas and whatever. But I think of like other YouTubers that I watch that, may have started off vlogging. There's one that I can think of, who started off vlogging and then she got a puppy and then I saw her views go up and now like all her videos are about her puppy,
Yes. Yeah, it's so interesting how you can just pivot, with what's going on in your life. But see, I would say that's the goal, the ultimate goal of a YouTuber, that your audience becomes invested in you as a person. And then it gets to the point where it doesn't matter what you're talking about, it's you and they're there for you. And like I said, that's the ultimate goal as a content creator. Yeah.
That's what it is. People are searching for something. Like, I think that's how I found you. I was considering moving abroad and your videos popped up. Then I watched older videos from before you moved to London. And that's kind of and now I'm invested. When your videos pop up, I watch them, and that's kind of what happens. So I think that that's so important with whatever you do, whatever your business is, to kind of build that niche and build that community. And then people gonna follow you. Like they say about having those, loyal consumers, people gonna shop at Target because they know Target is gonna provide quality that they want. So it's the same thing with YouTube.
Absolutely. And people want to follow people they feel like they can connect with and relate to. So it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the early mistakes you made in your YouTube career?
That's a good question. Probably thinking that I have to defend myself every time like someone says something in my comments that I feel like is untrue or, negative. I remember like my video first went viral back in 2018 and people were saying, this isn't really her, that those before photos are not her, and things like that. And I will be in the comments like, how dare you say, and I'm like, yeah. And, now, all these years later, I know that you cannot argue with everybody. And some people are just trolls and they, are just going to say what they want to say. And it's pointless to try to argue. So now I have certain words filtered out in my comments and I, know how to press that block button when necessary. So I know how to protect my peace a little bit better now as a YouTuber, because you do hear a lot of outside noise, and it can be overwhelming at the beginning for sure.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I know for me, I just post, it's mostly friends and people that I know that follow me on Instagram. And I'm looking at the comment, like as soon as I post something, I'm sweating about how people are going to respond. Imagine the whole world being able to see and say whatever they want. And some people, like you said, are just trolls, just want to say something to stir you up. Like for me, like I feel like that's one of the things that would have me like, I don't know if I can do this. Like,
sometimes I'm growing, but sometimes I still have to respond. And my mom gets so upset. She's like, Paige, why did you respond to that person's comment? Just leave it alone. I don't like you arguing. I'm just,
Uh,
I'm like, but it's the principle, mom. It's the principle.
came to my page.
Exactly.
I didn't ask for this. Okay. Like,
Funny.
you don't have to be here. No, that's so good. Like you really do have to develop thick skin, I feel like, in this industry because people just want to say something that is going to get a response.
Exactly. Exactly. And most often people will respond to me if I say something back and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were going to see this, or I didn't mean it like that. They never think that you're going to like actually respond until you do. So yeah.
Don't come here with that negative energy. So is there anything that you would change about your journey?
No, absolutely not. I feel like everything that I've gone through, every tear I've cried, like everything has gotten me to where I am today and made me who I am today. So there's not one thing I would change. No.
And you got to go home recently. How was that? You haven't been home in a while.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I hadn't been home in almost 2 years and it was really nice. I do have to say though that I made the decision, or it was confirmed, that I probably would not move back to Chicago. And it's so interesting because I didn't know I felt that way until I went home, but I really do feel like I've like outgrown the city. And I'm just, if, whenever my time in London ends or whenever it's time for me to take the next leap, I think I want to do something new again, something different. So I kind of am just like in that space now in my life. I'm like, just what's next? What's new? So I think I'm done there, but I will always go back and visit. It'll always be home. That's where my family and my friends are. So yeah, it was definitely a great trip.
Yeah, I just went to Chicago for the first time in May. I actually went like a solo birthday trip to Chicago.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful city, isn't it?
Such a beautiful city. First of all, God bless me because the weather was nice. Like it felt like summer.
Yes.
And I remember in your videos, you always go to Primark.
Yes.
And I didn't know they had them in Chicago. I thought it was a Brooklyn thing.
No, they just got one like 2 years ago.
Okay. I was like right around the corner from there. I was like, oh, I see why she loves this place. There's everything here.
Oh my gosh. I was so excited to walk into the Chicago Primark because I'm like, I never thought I would see the day that it was here in my city. So yeah, that was really cool.
I was like, this is so cool. But yeah, I understand. I know for me, I ended up moving back home during the pandemic, but I never saw myself back here.
Sure.
So I completely relate to that. What would you like? Because you got your master's degree and you ended up staying in London on the startup visa, right?
Startup visa, yep.
Okay. So like, how was that? How was like applying for the visa and how did that go?
It was challenging. I was very, very stressed out during that time, just because I knew how competitive of a process it was because they don't just give the visa to anyone that applies. So my university where I study, they are actually my sponsor for the visa. So I was really fortunate because I was able to, build a relationship with the entrepreneurship team at my university. And those are the people that make the decision. So, I first sent out like just a cold email saying, I'm really interested in this visa. How do I go about applying? And they said, well, you need to get involved with our department, our entrepreneurship department. We have, this retreat, we have this competition, like get involved, to learn more. So I did a competition and it's so funny because yes, I do YouTube. Yes, I, create content for thousands of people to watch, but I am so shy when it comes to like public speaking. And I had to get on like stage multiple times and pitch my business idea. And I was so nervous. But I knew that I wanted to stay here so badly. And I'm like, I have to make this work. I have to make this happen. So yeah, doing the competition definitely helped because that meant the team knew about my idea. They knew how passionate I was about it. So when I went through the interview process, they kind of already like had an idea of what I was trying to do. And yeah, they selected me. I know like the year before me, only 2 people got chosen for it. So I'm not really sure how many people got chosen my year, but there's only 25 of us right now who are currently on the visa. So yeah, it's very, very competitive. So I feel so blessed and so fortunate that I've been able to be on the visa. And it's actually also interesting because of the pandemic. They had this one-time opportunity where you could apply for a COVID extension. So my visa was supposed to expire, this year, but I was able to stay another full year to work on my business. So yeah, yeah.
I was gonna ask that. So how often do you have to apply?
Oh man, so it's a 2-year visa, but I got an extra year, so it made it 3 years.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, with that, like with your YouTube career and all the things that you've been able to do, you had a lot of other opportunities as well. You did a show. How did that happen? And like, how was
Oh
the
my
experience?
God. That's so funny. So being an American, living abroad, I actually get reached out to kind of often about, reality show opportunities because they do film a lot of shows here where they make it seem like you're in America, if that makes sense. Like they have like British production. So like the show The Circle that's really popular on Netflix, like they filmed the first season out here in England, but they only had Americans on the show. So they chose people. Yeah, yeah. So I got reached out to about this show called, well, at the time I didn't know what it was called. I just knew that we were going to be like dressed up in some funky makeup. They didn't really give many details at all. They said it was a dating show and you were going to try to date people based on their personality and not what they look like. So I'm like, okay, I usually would turn down the offers that I would get. And this time for some reason I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? Like I said, I'm a very like shy person, but I don't know. It was like a fire lit under me when I was on that show because I was just like on a roll. I didn't feel nervous at all. I was just doing my thing and just being myself. And yeah, it turned out to be one of the coolest experiences that I've had since I've been here.
That is so cool. So it was a dating show and they found Americans in London.
Yeah. So for that show specifically, they had British people as well. But yeah, it was a lot of Americans on the show too. That one they had like a mixture. But there are a lot of shows out here that they only choose Americans. So a lot of my friends who are here like studying abroad, they get messages all the time as well.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
so if you're looking to get an entertainment, maybe move to another country.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a doggy dog world out here.
Yeah, I've also been reached out to by 90 Day Fiance, and I'm like, I don't have a fiance, so I don't know exactly.
Which makes you wonder how real a lot of that stuff is. Okay.
When I told them I didn't have a fiance, they said, "Oh, okay, that's all right then." So I think
I just thought you could
a little bit of
engaged. That is hilarious.
yes, yes.
And there's been other opportunities that have come to you as well. You've been in magazines and on a billboard, and
so that came through the YouTube Black Voices Fund. Okay. Another one of the most amazing experiences that I've had. So I basically saw, I think someone sent it to me that YouTube was having this initiative where they wanted to really back their Black creators. It happened, I think they made the decision after the George Floyd, situation and Black Lives Matter. And they were like, we want to give back. Like I said, they started this initiative. I applied for the first year and somehow I got it. Like it's the hugest blessing. And they just gave us so many wonderful opportunities from, having workshops. We received grant funding and equipment. And like you said, we were on a billboard here in London. They put us in the September issue of British Vogue, like things that I just never could have dreamed of. When I first decided to move here, I just never would have thought I'd be in British Vogue. Like what? No. So yeah, it's been such a beautiful experience. And now, I continue to be recognized by YouTube because we built that relationship and they still, include me in events and, different opportunities. So I could not have asked for more. And I honestly don't know if I would have ever made the connection with the actual people at YouTube if I hadn't have come here, and applied. So yeah, I was the only American in my cohort. Everybody else was British. So yeah, I'm definitely fortunate to have been included.
Man, it sounds like, I just had another guest on who talked about she has a hair product company, and she said God just gave her the idea to start a product, and then all these other things happened. And I think that's kind of how your life is going, how life goes, period. It's like you get the first step and then that leads to so many other things. But if you don't take that first step, then you'll never know. You never know.
Something I like to say is like, all you have to do is just like manually open the first door, and then all the doors after that will be the automatic ones, you just have to step up to it and it just comes, just opens up for you, because sometimes it really is just that first step. It's that step that you're holding back from taking, like that's holding you back. You know what I mean? So I had to take that first leap and quit my job and move here. And then since then, everything has just kind of fallen into place for me.
Yeah. And you have to do it afraid, because you're not going to be
I'm still afraid.
Okay. Like, everything's not going to be perfect. Everything's not going to make sense. Often it doesn't make sense. It's not rational, but it's those decisions that we make, and taking that leap and taking a chance on yourself. It sounds like you have repeatedly taken a chance on yourself.
Have to.
Your first YouTube video when you were 13 years old, up until, applying for the visa. A lot of people might hear competition. Oh no, I'll never get it, or applying for the YouTube, experience, and thinking, oh no, there's going to be so many other competitors, I'm not going to get it. But you took a chance on yourself, and look at the doors that it's open.
Absolutely. That's one thing. That was what I told myself when I decided to make the move here. I said, Paige, this is the place that you're going to come and continuously step out of your comfort zone. I don't care what it is. Like, if it seems like the right decision, it doesn't matter if it's scary, if it's uncomfortable, we're going to try it and just see what happens. And I have done that every single time, and it's always paid off. So yeah, you just never know like what's going to be on the outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. I love that. And, a lot of time I'll ask people, what's next for you? But I feel like a lot of the time we don't know, I think it's
my answer.
That's cool. It's
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I first, was going to move abroad to London, people were asking me, so what's going to happen after you finish your degree? Because it was just a 1-year program. They're like, what's going to be next? And I'm like, can you give me a chance to just get there first and figure it out? And I understood that, because I used to be the same way. I was a person who had to have every detail of the plan, written out. And I would get so disappointed and so upset when things would veer off the plan that I had set for myself. But what do they say? Like, when you make plans, God laughs. It's like, It's not up to you. You know what I mean? Like, you have control, but not as much as you think. So yeah, I just put in his hands, and I just, took the first step.
Yeah, I think it's okay to create the outline and, have dreams and visions and things that you want to accomplish. However, you have to be willing to go with the flow. I remember watching Lauren London on an interview, and she's like, go with the river, flow with the river.
Yes.
I'm like, those
are words. Be like water. You have to be like water.
Be like water. Be like water, because you never know where it's going to go. But I promise you, the journey is going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be scary. there's going to be moments that you're crying and you're sad and you're like, I miss my family and everyone that I love. However, like the independence that comes with taking a leap of faith, the just confidence that comes with it, like, you know what, I can do anything. I lived abroad in London, I can do anything,
Absolutely.
I love your story of faith. I love your story of just, taking that step and seeing where it leads you, and it's led you to a remarkable place. So Thank you so much for this time and talking to us and sharing your story. I am so excited for all of our listeners and watchers to get to know you more. So tell us where they can find you and how they can watch your videos.
I am Paige Mariah everywhere, online. On Instagram, it's Paige_Mariah, Twitter, Paige_Mariah. But if you type in Paige Mariah, I should come up.
Yes, definitely get into it. If you're thinking about moving abroad, if you're thinking about taking any type of leap of faith, watch her videos, because they're going to inspire you. And just your travel videos, because how many countries have you been to?
Oh man, so I'm going to my 35th country, which is Egypt, next month.
That is so exciting. Yes. That for me, like, sometimes I just get on just to see where has she been and where should I go.
I love that. Oh, I also do want to plug that I'm now a TikTok girl, so please follow me. I was really fighting it for the longest, but now I'm having so much fun on TikTok. I'm like, another platform. I can't take another platform, but it's the best.
I'm with you. I did the same thing. I was like, I can handle Instagram and that's it.
Exactly.
But once I got on TikTok, I was like, this is where it's at. You know, it's not
Exactly.
too much pressure, you know, it's just a little more
It's
relaxed.
very relaxed. Yes. I'm
Yeah.
having so much fun with that.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Paige. And everyone, thank you for watching, listening. Go follow Paige and see everything that she's doing. I am Paige Mariah on all of her platforms. And just, you know, catch up with all the things that she's done so far. Thank you guys for listening and for watching the Name a Better Duo podcast. As always, I'm Renée Nicole. Have an amazing rest of your week.